Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we're going to be talking about Alice in Borderland Episode 7. So the episode picks up where the Ten of Hearts game officially started, and everyone is confused as to what is really going on. What we do know is that apparently the short-haired girl who's always seen together with the dead girl, well, because they're such close friends, was surprisingly absent during her demise. This was then questioned, and it made the whole crowd accuse the short-haired girl as the witch. Before Mr. Nose Ring convinces everyone to burn her, thankfully, there were still a few people with actual brain power that questioned that incoherent logic. The fact is, no one can prove their whereabouts during the murder. It is here that we see Mr. Nose Ring jumps to take up any opportunity to burn anyone regardless of the validity of the reasoning, since in my opinion, he just wants to see the world burn. The beach truly became an anarchy once the Yakuza arrives and promises to burn everyone until the witch shows him or herself. It's obvious that I don't need to point out the flaws to this logic. Everyone scrambles as the militia begin to murder everyone in sight. Honestly, if Arisu knew what was happening, he'd probably be glad that he was tied up right now. Joking aside though, Usagi managed to escape with the short-haired girl, and they met up with Mr. Baseball Hat. They realized that they must find Arisu, as their combined IQ without him is unlikely enough to beat this game. Meanwhile, we see that the militians are throwing all the bodies into the fire as the Yakuza stares deeply into the flames. Many of the militians are actually reluctant to follow through with such horrific actions, but we see that peer pressure and a twisted leadership can truly make everyday people do unimaginable things. We skip to Koina and Mr. Assassin's Creed and see that they're hiding in the surveillance room. I guess they also play a lot of Among Us, since it was a good place to be not knowing who the imposter is. Eventually, Koina noticed that Miss Longlegs was snooping around and decided to check it out. Meanwhile, Usagi's group eventually found out the rough location of where Arisu is by literally beating it out of one of the militians. But their time grows shorter as the creepy swordsman begins burning the entire place down. Miss Blue Bikinis finds the snooping girl and questions whether if she is the witch. However, she responds by saying that a witch will either be hiding or having too much fun killing others right now. I have to say I can't disagree with her logic. Anyways, she convinces Koina to help as she is trying to find the real witch by examining the evidence. Most likely fingerprints on the knife the girl was killed with. Apparently, she used to be a forensic scientist, which explains why she was found dissecting bodies in the previous episodes. Their mission came to a hurdle when they are faced with the creepy swordsman. Koina decided to stay behind while Anne continues with her mission. They have an epic battle where it seems like the swordsman is gaining an upper hand. I mean, that's sort of expected as you have an unarmed woman going up against a crazy dude with a samurai blade. Personally, I would have grabbed anything by now to use as a weapon, but I guess Koina is more comfortable empty-handed. As they continue to exchange blows, hit each other, a flashback of this karate guy appears. Apparently, he was the son of a karate master, but because of his sexuality, he was beat up, yelled at, and eventually disowned by his own father. This is such a sad story, as I had a hard time trying to not cry while watching. Even when he left the dojo, and his father practically ignores him, he still bowed to his old man with respect before leaving. Eventually, he met up with his sick mother, and she accepted her son like she always did, with open arms. We are then also introduced to the backstory of the creepy swordsman, who was a fearful person that stayed indoor while writing about others' adventures. Therefore, he undergoes dramatic changes at the present Tokyo and became the very opposite of who he was. Koina noted as they're fighting that both of them are similar, since both of them hated their previous lives. However, the difference is that Koina chooses to accept its existence while the other guy ignores it. With this in mind, she comes to a resolve and knocks the creepy swordsman out with a final blow. I have to say that she might have just become my favorite character. On the other side, we see that Mr. Nosering is shooting everyone with a sniper on the rooftop. A flashback also shows why he is the way he is right now. Man, there are a lot of flashbacks in this episode. Anyways, apparently he was bullied in school, and I guess that's why he prefers to bully others now that he has the chance. As he's shooting everyone, the blondie appears and they apparently have a score to settle, since they never liked each other in the first place. Mr. Nosering managed to fire a shot at close range, but missed because the blondie surprisingly threw his playing cards right in the air. He then whips out a homemade flamethrower and burns the dude while he stumbles and falls off the building. Damn, that was pretty hardcore. Going back to Usagi and her group, they finally managed to find Arisu after finishing off some militias on the way. Because the door to our protagonist's room is locked, the sporty girl literally jumped from window to window while being chased off by guns. It is this time that Arisu has a flashback with Shota and Karube. I have to say that I personally miss them very much and wish that they can somehow come back to the show again.
And remember us. Promise, Arisu?
Their memory motivates Arisu to live on, and he manages to hold out until the rescue arrives. They try to decipher the purpose of the game and what the game master truly wants. Arisu suggests that both the death of the Hatter and the death of the dead girl are no coincidences since they happened almost immediately. The game master must have set up the game as a result of the death of Hatter. Since hard games want people to kill each other, they must have known that the Yakuza would try to kill everyone after the death of Hatter. But the question is why? On the other side, the forensic lady seems to have figured out something which hints at who the real witch is. She does this by getting the fingerprints out of the knife. What I'm wondering is how can the fingerprint tell her anything if she doesn't have any ways to verify their ownership? Unless of course verification is rendered unnecessary by the position of the prints. At the same time, with knowledge of the previous hard games, Arisu seems to have figured out who the real witch is as well. Finally, a last flashback appears from the Yakuza. Here we see that he and the Hatter used to be best and old friends. And by looking at the Yakuza as he stares into the flames, I can't help but think that he should feel a lot of sadness for his friend's death. And yet, he appeared to be emotionless and uncaring. It's almost like he's a different person than in the flashbacks. Or maybe that's just how he appears to be in front of everyone else. We'll find out what is really happening in the next episode and the season finale of Alice in Borderland. So what did you guys think about this episode? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.